Propaganda is a powerful technique used to influence people by getting them to believe things that are often untrue. In World War II Germany, Nazis used propaganda to shape attitudes of hatred towards Jews.
Without propaganda, it's possible that the Nazis would not have taken over Germany. Their clever use of propaganda sealed Germany's fate. When the Nazis were in power, there was parades every week. It was the mainstay of Hitler's populist approach.
I saw Hitler a number of times because he had a lot of parades. Hitler was an egomaniac. He loved to parade, and whenever he had a parade, we had to go out and we had to watch him. And so a lot of people that you see waving for Hitler probably didn't want to be there, but they were told to be there.
He said if you reach the people, and if you talk their language, and they're all gathering out to watch this parade, they're eventually going to believe the signs.
Zukunft restlos uns gehört.
Nazis used anti-Semitic propaganda, which portrayed Jews as inferior in all forms of mass media, including newspapers and comic books.
These are horrible caricatures telling stories of Jews and the negative characteristics, and why Hitler was doing the world a favor to get rid of them, because these are poisonous people, Untermenschen, subhuman, worthy of destruction. His program is one of bigotry, of hatred, of genocide.
Jews in Germany and throughout Europe were victims of Nazi propaganda.
I suffered discrimination in Germany. I was not allowed to go to school. The few, contacts that we did have, I was called a Jew and beaten up. We were restricted to what days of the week that we can go shopping. We weren't allowed to own pets.
Every day they repeated those lies. In the newspaper edited by Julius Streicher, it was an infamous newspaper called Der Stürmer. There were caricatures, horrible caricatures of Jews. Long noses, evil eyes, always fat.
Anti-Semitic propaganda wasn't just targeted to adults, it was also targeted to German children. One of the most powerful ways Hitler used propaganda was through recruiting young German boys into the Hitler Youth.
As the Second World War took place, you were considered a traitor if you had a family and children, and the young boys did not go to the Hitler Youth.
But how could a nation believe all these lies?
Germans bought into the idea, Hitler's in power. You want to defy him? Be friendly to Jews. If you want to be with the masses that are infatuated with their Führer, you have to do in the Jews. And too many Germans were more than willing to do so. And so Hitler, without propaganda, would have been a nobody. And he used it brilliantly, and the German people stuck with him.
Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung! Es lebe Deutschland!
One of the most powerful forms of mass brainwashing Hitler used was propaganda films. One of the most famous films portrayed a concentration camp as a happy place.
The name of that was The Führer Gives the Jews a City. And the Führer had a public record of how he had built an ideal city for the Jews.
The camp was Theresienstadt, and I was 7 years old when I went into that camp. It was the purest form of propaganda that I've seen, because it showed people playing soccer, and it showed people in a cafe, and it showed people, in a library, in a bank, and so on. And none of that existed. So propaganda was just an art form by the Nazis. There was typhus there, there was disease was there. There were 15,000 children that came through that camp. When the camp was liberated in 1945, there were 100 children left in that camp, 100 children.
And then there was the use of propaganda to fool even the victims. Lies. They would tell the people as they got off the trains, make sure you take your warm clothing because you're going to farms and it could be cold out there.
And they told us that we are going to Germany to help the German Reich. that we're going to do harvesting, producing food for the soldiers, and we're going to work at the factories producing war machinery. And that's what we believed.
My mother and I were shoved into a cattle car, and we were on the way for about 2.5 days. We were mistreated. We were not fed. We had no water or food.
I didn't know that I did arrive to Auschwitz-Birkenau, to the deadliest concentration camp ever built on earth, just for one reason, to kill people. And that was the first time that we realized that horrible stench in the air was the burning human flesh.
Propaganda can be used as a powerful tool that can lead to prejudice and hatred, and no one is immune to its influence.
Kids as well as adults can easily be fooled. We can all be victims of propaganda. We have to learn not to be swept up in the emotion, to use our brains, to ask ourselves, what do these people stand for? And if they win, what do they hope to accomplish?